Hello, I'm Reverend Odell Cleveland. I'm your host for Safer Cities. Today we're excited to have some community leaders and talk about employment. Ms. Tifanie Rudd. Tifanie, welcome.
Thank you.
And Mr. Brian Clarida. Brian, welcome.
Thank you.
You know, a lot of times people don't understand the significance between employment and crime. A lot of times, if you don't have income, then you cannot survive. If you cannot survive, some people, not all, choose to crime as a way of surviving. With the work group that you all did on employment, what are some of the things you all came up with on how to solve some of these issues?
One of the first things we thought about was employers have to be educated because many employers don't understand that these individuals just need another chance. Because in many cases, employers are afraid to hire the individuals because they're thinking they're going to come in and maybe do something in their business that they shouldn't and create a liability for them. And so we started thinking about some things we could put together for employers, such as a flyer that we can put together that will educate employers on reasons they should hire these violent offenders, as well as we're looking at doing a panel discussion. And Tifanie will discuss that more, but we're looking at putting that together.
So Tifanie, you're talking about giving people a second chance.
Yes. Yeah, it's important that also that we have what we call the healthier collaboration between law enforcement and community. The employers, as Doctor was saying here, it's imperative that we educate them because they don't know the incentives that they can get when they, are willing to give these individuals a second chance. And also we found that not only does the employer need to be educated, so does the offenders. Because the offenders don't realize that there's bond insurance and things like that where they can sell themselves for an opportunity to gain employment as well.
Well, you know, those are excellent opportunities. And when you come in and get involved with Greensboro Police Department and trying to, how can we make our communities safer, we think this is excellent. I think you all had something about a website also. Can you share about that?
Sure. We were looking at creating a website to list some opportunities for employers, such as the benefits for hiring these violent offenders, as well as some community resources that they could rely on to get more information and to network with other businesses, because we realize that knowledge is power, and so them being able to talk to other businesses that have hired violent offenders and to find out why they hire them and to find out also the job that they're doing for them, and hopefully through that collaboration it will create more opportunities for the violent offenders. So the website's going to serve many purposes.
So what we're talking about, giving somebody a hand up, not a handout. Here's an opportunity for individuals that may have made some mistakes in their younger lives. They may or may not be violent offenders, but your group is coming together with some action items that's going to allow them to kind of get back on the right track. And you're going to kind of be the buffer or the bridge, for lack of a better term, on helping these individuals with the potential employer. And now once they get a job, Ms. Rudd, they can feed their family, they can pay child support, they can do all the things that's important to do in society.
Right, and not only that, you have to understand when they get this opportunity, it does something to their self-esteem.
Share a little bit more about that with the audience.
Well, this is the thing about it, Doctor just mentioned the panel. The purpose of to get the panel together is we're going to have some successful offenders come and do a panel. The audience will be also offenders, but possible employers, so that they can see that, what they do to offenders when they give them the opportunity, because it builds their self-esteem. Now that they feel just as important as someone else's who's in society per se, it makes them feel better as a human. You have to understand, for the male perspective, you're taking away part of their manhood if they cannot provide for their family. For the females, when they have children, you're taking away, her ability to provide for her children, especially if she's been incarcerated, she comes out. Not only does she has to build a relationship with the community, but what about she has to build a relationship with her family? So when you give them opportunities, or employers give them opportunities, that allows her or him to see that, their family see, if they're believing in you, then we can believe in you as well. Because it's have to start somewhere. It's either going to start at home, and then hopefully it spreads abroad to the community, or vice versa. It starts in the community and then spread abroad to home.
And I think a piece of that is it's going to create a safer community.
Absolutely.
Because if these individuals are back in the workforce, they're able to contribute to society.
Yes.
Therefore, the hope and goal is that they will not want to commit another crime. because obviously we're served better if they're outside of the walls of jail or prison.
Well, you know, also what your group talked about, expungement of records. Can you
Yes.
share a little bit with the audience about that also, please?
You want to talk?
Okay, yes, see the thing about it, going back to the educational component, a lot of individuals as offenders and employers do not know that this exists or they can qualify, because they have to qualify, of course. However, because they're not aware of these things, they're not aware not only the expungement, the certificate of release, they're not aware of, you know, the bond insurance, things like that. The offender should be aware of, and the employee should be aware of. For employers, it's benefit so that they can understand it decreases the liability of hiring this individual. The offender should be aware of this because now, you know what, now I can sell myself. This is something, you know, I can tell the employee, if you give me this opportunity, do you realize I come with some insurance? So therefore, you know, things like that. It's very important, as Doctor said earlier, that education is powerful, but not just only for one end of the spectrum, holistically. Even when it comes to the law enforcement and the community, you know what I'm saying? It's a holistic thing.
So that way it helps reduce crime in the community
Absolutely.
because now all of a sudden this young man or young woman feel that they have another opportunity, they have another avenue, that they could go out there and work. If they want to change their lives, turn it around, you're giving them a vehicle to do this. Let me ask you a question, Dr. C. Why do you care?
I care because I live in Greensboro and I'm raising a family here. And so we want our family to be embraced with people from all walks of life. And we want them to understand that everyone makes mistakes and
Yes,
people
ma'am.
deserve a second chance.
Yes.
And we can't just say because this person did something, maybe when they were younger, and in many cases we see that they don't deserve opportunity to right their wrong. And so we need to give them another
Very good.
opportunity to be a part of society because they're going to be with us regardless.
Yes.
So we choose if they're productive or not. And I say that by we as employers. If employers decide to give them another opportunity, then they're going to contribute to society. They're going to help pay taxes. They're
Absolutely.
going to have a job and support their family. And we also have to think this goes a little deeper. It's generational.
Okay.
Because sometimes they have kids, they have cousins, they have relatives, and if they're looking at them, we want them to see a positive role model. And so we want them to understand that we all have made mistakes, but there is a light at the end, and there's a second opportunity.
Okay. And Ms. Rudd, from your perspective, you've been doing this for a long time. Your company have been placing people, you know, with
Yeah.
records in employment, and you have an excellent record as far as employment. So
Right.
why do you care?
Well, for one, it's personal for me. I grew up, that's what I grew up in, you know, from a parent to sibling, you know, to see the struggle. It's real. To see one that you care so much try to get back into society, but the system blocks them because they don't have an opportunity. So what do? They go do what they know to do because they have no other opportunity. So for me, it's personal. You know, my goal is to teach people that they are made to rise against all odds of life, for the powers inside of them. And, you know, for the employers, if they're willing to give someone a second chance, how big that is. Words cannot describe to an offender if someone gives them an opportunity, because the struggle is so real and they go on and on hearing all these no's and no's and no's. You know what I'm saying? To hear a yes, the loyalty that the employer would gain from these individuals, the commitment, you know what I'm saying, that they'll get. And they always seem to go the extra mile. Believe it or not, between offenders and individuals with disabilities, those are really the best employees you can gain because of
Right.
their loyalty to you and because of their gratitude for this opportunity, because it comes very rare.
So with these action items that you all are working on, and you all are meeting, you're talking about the website, you're meeting, you're talking about the whole thing with the expungement, you're meeting, you're talking about getting 20 employers. So these are some audacious goals. And I just commend you all for what you're doing and go there. How's the whole group dynamics? How does everyone else, because you all are working, representing the group, but how's the whole group's dynamics? Because is everyone as excited as you all are, everyone's as committed as you all are, and it's just good. The energy is good working with the Greensboro Police Department and working with the community to solve these problems, because we all want a safer community. That's the bottom line. We all want a safer community and we want to change lives. So how's the group's dynamic?
It's going well. Tiff and I have been meeting with them and working with them, and we truly believe in the old saying, it takes a village.
Yes.
And so that's what we're working on, and we're using that approach. And we know with everyone's help, the community, the police department, and all of the individuals from Greensboro, the community, is going to be successful. And we're excited about it. Everyone's really excited. It's a great opportunity.
Ms. Rudd?
Well, the awesome thing about the whole thing is that to come together is an amazing thing. The outcome is what we all want, and that's
right.
a great outcome. And we can't
Good
get
point.
it if we don't work together.
All
And
right.
when I say work together, I'm talking about from law enforcement to the community educating, you know what I'm saying, break it down to the spectrum.
That's right.
But the most important thing out of all of it, it can happen. That's the awesome part about it. You know, you have to restore a lot of hope, not only to the offenders, but the community, the employers, because employers are fearful. You know, they're afraid of liability and things like that. The offenders, you know what I'm saying, they're hopeless. They don't think they can get the opportunity. So, you know, once we finish or complete or establish a great outcome, you know what I'm saying, I think and I know for sure that we all will be better as a society, as a community, as a whole.
Well, as we get ready to wrap up, just want to look at the folks and just share with those viewing audience on how they can get involved and what can they get out of it.
Well, one way you can get involved is you can contact myself or either doctor. I guess the information will be given to you on the screen. Another thing you can get involved, contact the police department. See what you can do to make a difference in your community because you do have a voice. You know, my thing about it is we vote people in for city councils and things like that. Hold them accountable, you know, or not just vote them in and sit down, vote them in and stand up with them to support them on the things that you want to have take place in the community. And this, what we're doing here, we definitely need your help. The more the better.
And I would agree with Tiffany, and I'd say let's work together to make Greensboro a much better place for us and future generations.
And what I'd like to say is, you know, we just want to say thank you to Tifanie and Dr. C and this whole team, because we know that if we could work together to give people who have committed offenses a new second chance, and we all can do it, and we do believe that we can do this, we're doing this, and we welcome everyone else to join us, because this is our community, and we're working together to make this a safer community for everyone. So again, we say thank you for joining us for this episode of Safer City. I'm your host, Odell Cleveland, and we're out.